This is the Living in Clarity podcast. My name is Brandon Fisher, and this is Coach Ratner, and we are recording from the Old City Radio studio.
I know, it's so exciting to be here. We have news. I don't know if you've noticed, but we're not in the same space we filmed before. We are now in a new studio, built brand new. I would like to say it's just for us, but it feels like it's just for us. And it's so exciting. We have professional cameras, and we have the microphones and the headphones. We feel really special.
It is a game changer. You see us now with headphones. We didn't used to have headphones. You don't know what we're hearing, though. We hear ourselves totally crisp. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So we hear what you hear.
Plus, we had a here in Jerusalem, trying to find space to film is very difficult. It's like being in Park Avenue in Manhattan. There's no space here, so we had to find space and then reserve it, and then find our people we're going to interview and get a cameraman.
Rearrange the entire room.
We had to rearrange the entire room.
Clean up.
And we had to, not just that, we had to carry, our photographer, Zev Schwartz, lives in Rehavia. It's about a half an hour away, walking. But we had to get the equipment from Rehavia down to the Old City in Jerusalem. And I have to help him carry it, and it was a schlep, and sometimes it's raining, and we had to get a cab, and you still have to walk a bit to get here.
Right. I don't think a lot of our listeners understand what the Old City is like.
Yeah.
It is as old as you can imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, we have Roman ruins that are on top of, because those are new compared to some of the history here.
Yeah.
And the streets are cobblestone. They're slippery. If it's raining.
Even if it's not raining, it's slippery.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have to carry the equipment down here, and then we have to set up. It usually takes half an hour, and then we have to time it with you and our guests. And then we have the room. The people are always walking in the room because it's a public center kind of and then we have to take down. And it's because of that, we try to film 3, 4, or 5 at one time.
Right.
And sometimes they're long, and personally, I'm exhausted. And I think, take everything down and then carry it back to Rehavia. So this is, for me, a huge game changer.
Yeah, and it's actually closer than where we were filming within the building that we were in.
Yeah, it's really funny. That's kind of a funny thing. So what are we going to talk about today? So
today we're going to talk about the increasingly important topic of self-esteem.
Yeah, so I've been talking a lot about that in my classes, and there's lots of different parts to self-esteem we're going to discuss. We're going to discuss not all today, but it's going to be a number of segments. But today we're going to talk about ways that people make other people feel bad about themselves. We don't realize that when we're in conversations, we're in a social situation, that we can make, without even realizing, we can make people feel bad.
Tell me about those.
So there's the 3 different ways I'm going to talk about today. So generally, we like to judge other people and rationalize our own mistakes, right? We rationalize why we do. Oh, it's okay. It's not bad, whatever. But we judge other people unfavorably, right? Mm-hmm. Really, what we should be doing is judging yourself and rationalizing for other people, which means when you see someone making a mistake, you know what? Judge them favorably. You don't have to judge them, but rationalize. Okay, they're doing that because they came from a bad home. They're doing that. And then you'll be a much happier person because you don't start nitpicking at other people's mistakes. But yourself, you should be judging and trying to improve yourself. So when you're in a conversation with someone, we're talking about 3 different ideas. Number 1 is called name dropping. And I'm sure I've done this in the past. I was a rare coin dealer in America, and when people mentioned, for example, Heritage Auction House, which is a huge company, third largest auction house in the world, and people would mention that, who weren't in the coin business because they bought baseball cards, they bought jewelry, whatever, watches. I'm like, oh yeah, I know Jim Halpern. Yeah, I could text him right now, or Steve Ivey, the 2 main, and I'd be name dropping in order to make myself feel better in the eyes of other people. Because if I knew the principles of this big company and I had a connection with them, in my eyes, I'm raising myself up.
And you're so important.
And I'm so important. Exactly. Obviously, everyone goes through low self-esteem. Everybody, especially teenagers, early 20s, but you hope to grow out of it. And eventually we're going to get into the podcast, the 10 steps to make sure you don't have how to avoid having low self-esteem. Because when I give my class, I tell my students, I want you to walk out of this classroom happier than when you left, when you came in. Right? That's my goal.
Right.
Not just now, but forever. You want to be a happier person. So name dropping is one of them. I mean, I'm sure, I don't know if you've done it, but a lot of people do, especially when you're in sales and
Everyone's done it. Of course. Yeah. It slides out all of a sudden.
Yeah. I remember when the Maccabees, they're a Jewish a cappella group.
Right.
And they came out and they got really big really fast, at least from my perspective.
And they did, because they had that one hit during Hanukkah.
Yeah, how's it go? I'll tell a tale, the Maccabees of Israel. So everyone knew someone that because they went to yeshiva in New York, and everyone's like, oh, my brother's best friend's girlfriend is brothers to one of the Maccabees substitutes. Like, everyone had to, like, and this was a big thing, like, everyone had to know that they're somehow connected to the Maccabees.
Wow.
You know what I'm talking about?
I believe it.
I don't know if you know.
I wasn't in the scene at the time.
Yeah. So that's number one. Number two, oh, you don't know Joseph Behar? Really?
Who's that?
Right? Oh, everyone knows Joseph. Oh, you don't know him? Really? Oh my gosh. You're so stupid. Like, you don't know. No, you don't say that. But when people do that, what you're saying is like, oh, you're like, don't know what I know. And then you like smaller. Right?
Right.
And people do this to me. For some reason, I used to name drop, but I never did this. I never said, oh, you don't know him? Because to me, it's like, why would they know him? That person's not in my circle. I have a certain circle. I know all these people. And you might be in a completely different circle. Why would you know him?
Yeah, no, there's no reason for you to know him.
There is none.
But you don't know him?
Yeah. Right, exactly.
You should feel worse about yourself.
You feel bad about yourself, and you're making people feel bad.
Yeah.
That's way number two. Then there's something called the humble brag. The humble brag is when, like, oh my God, I was stuck at the airport. Yeah, 7 hours. The flight was delayed 7. Thank God I'm a member of the United Gold Club. I can go there and get coffee and drinks. Like,
oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Yeah. Or maybe you're, this is another one. Like, a girl's like saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe, guys, I didn't shower. I didn't sleep last night. Yet I go out and guys are still hitting on me.
It's just so easy.
Yeah. Is that a humble brag?
That is a humble brag.
Yeah. Or like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. My private jet got stuck in Indianapolis and I was stuck there for 2 days. That's another humble brag, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, I did some of this when I moved to Israel because I would brag about the fact that in America, thank God, I had a nice house and everything, and like they had a 3-car garage and a lawn and a pool, and here in Israel, like no one, not no one, but like in Jerusalem, no one has that kind of stuff. Like there's no room for it. When they talk about a pool in Jerusalem, it's like you're lucky if you could take a bath in it. Like they'll say, oh, pool on a roof, and it's like this little, it's a kiddie pool, but they call it a pool, right? So I would say like, oh yeah, the pool, like, and I'm thinking about why am I bragging about like I'm making a point to say how tight spaces here in Jerusalem, just because we can't find a place to podcast until.
Right. Thank
you, Joseph Behar, for letting us use your space.
You don't know Joseph?
You don't know Joseph Behar of Kotel Connections? You don't know Old City Radio? By the way, let's give a plug, right?
Yeah. This is their studio, and
Kotel Connections is an organization that is engaging people when they come to all over the world, but here,
it's giving a soul to the Western Wall.
Yeah.
You go to the Western Wall and there's a wall, and it's easy to see it and just think of it as a wall. This organization is giving a soul to it. They're meeting you, they're introducing you to people around the old city, they're connecting you to why you really came here in the first place. Everyone's looking for something.
And telling you more about it. Like I know a lot of trips that come here that are, non-religious trips, and they say, oh, by the way, and the tour guide will say, this is considered the most, holiest place in the world. I'll see you in 20 minutes. And that's it. And that's all they do.
Like, what?
Because we had guys on Birthright come to Reish Torah.
Yeah.
And the guy said, that's what they told us. Go have fun for 20 minutes, walk around, and come back to the bus. And Kotel Connections helps connect you to what's really going on here.
Yeah.
To the history, to the spirituality, to the in-depth of the Torah. And they're pretty new, I think, right?
They're making moves. They're brand new.
They're making moves, baby. They put this podcast studio in just so Brandon and I could have a space and don't have to lug our equipment down for 30 minutes, right?
Right.
Yeah. Plus, it sounds so good, doesn't it? I mean, it sounds great.
It's so good.
Yeah.
You can hear yourself. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a night and day difference.
So this is just a short segment.
That was a humble brag. Because now we have all this equipment. We're better. We're better than
but
you.
it's not ours. I'm giving thanks to Joseph Behar and Kotel Connections and his wife, Chaya Sarah Rabinowitz. I'm sorry, Behar, for I knew when she was not married, so that's her last name when she was maiden name, we're so blessed and so happy that he's giving us a space. And I don't need to brag about, look at my microphone, look at my chair.
No, it's not bragging.
Because now I have, thank God, strong self-esteem. And I don't need to show off to anybody. I don't need Louis Vuitton shirts and clothes. And and as you grow, and we're going to get more into low self-esteem, we're going to talk about the problems of having low self-esteem. We're going to talk about symptoms of what low self-esteem can cause in your life. We're going to talk about the definition of self-esteem. Self-esteem quickly is just how you feel about yourself. That's self-esteem.
Self-esteem is how you feel about yourself.
Right. But low self-esteem is that you feel bad in the eyes of other people, which means, because the greatest prison you can put yourself in is worrying about what other people think about you.
When that starts to dictate your emotions, you're a slave to other people's thoughts on you, and you are probably wrong about what they're thinking about
You're
you.
always very wrong. I would say in my dating class, one of the things in order to open yourself up to marry somebody, you have to love yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get married and not love yourself, but what happens is you end up making yourself miserable, you'll make the other person miserable, and the marriage will be miserable. Because you must love yourself before you can love somebody else.
It makes so much sense. I say this about every adventure you're going to go on. If you go into any endeavor not confident in who you are or unclear, you're going to get so lost along the way, because there's going to be a million factors that you didn't prepare for that are telling you to be different, to behave different, to adapt. If you're not confident with who you are, you're not clear on that, you're going to end up miles off course.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot imagine how much that affects all kinds of relationships.
And we're also going to talk about the feeling of low self-esteem. It affects how you dress, how you walk, how you wear, how you think. It affects all aspects of your life when you feel bad about yourself. And listen, we all go through it. It's part of our life, right? I've gone through it, and what I'm going to do is turn my mess into my message, right?
I like that.
Yeah, this is going to be I think probably a few different podcasts on self-esteem. We're just going to talk about now just to kind of get started because we have some time. But I hope you join us for the ride. And I think that when you listen to the series on self-esteem, that you'll come out a much happier person. If you're not, you're going to learn steps in order to make yourself feel better.
Yeah, this is, especially with COVID, with everything going on in the world, so many TikTok, you're seeing hundreds of people in such a short amount of time. It's so easy to get lost in the crowd.
Right.
This will help you stand out.
We should call this intro to low self-esteem, or intro to self-esteem.
That's the new title.
Yeah, or intro to beaming self-esteem. That's what I like. Beaming self-esteem. Because you want to have beaming self-esteem.
I like it.
Smiling's very, very important.
You know what, Coach? A couple months ago, I did a handwriting evaluation.
Oh, yes.
It was a personality test. This guy is a professional handwriting evaluator, and he will tell you everything about you in categories based on how you write certain letters and where your margins are, etc. Your self-esteem comes out in that.
Really?
Yeah. He was able to tell me spot on.
That's
how
amazing.
I was feeling. Yeah.
Was this guy local? Can we get him?
Oh, that would be so cool. Yeah.
Yes?
He's in, yeah.
Does he have a good story?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know his story. He knows me, though.
We should do the handwriting interviews on air. On the podcast.
That would be really, really cool.
Yeah.
No, I've heard he's been on trips before.
Yeah.
And so the people get a free session with him for a little bit.
Yeah.
And he can tell you in like a second, you're having an affair.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it could be really, really, really personal.
We should have listeners send in to us their
That is so risky.
Yeah.
Because he'll things come up for real. He'll see like this person had been through something in their past that's holding them back, and he's right.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome.
So you could submit it, and we don't have to air it on air if it's.
We don't have to. Yeah. That's a bad idea. I forget my idea. Yeah.
But we should have him on. It would be a really cool guest.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all we're going to talk about today for self-esteem, because it's really kind of just an intro. We want to get more involved into the symptoms of it and what it causes. Because it's going to be a long. I don't want to do a 2-hour podcast on it right now. I'd rather break it up to little segments. I
like it. I think this is going to be a great series.
Yeah.
I hope you guys will find it valuable, and make sure you follow as the series develops.
Yep. All right.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to this episode. We're so excited to take you on this self-esteem journey.
I will see you next time. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Living in Clarity podcast.
If you enjoy what you just heard, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment with any suggestions for future episodes.
We'll see you next time.